up on the ceilings, names, you name it, curse words. Lots of third graders say the S word because it's written up on the ceiling and they see it and say it. This here actually has the Hotel Cornflake and Cockroach Motel written on the ceiling. I do have a math question for you guys, so be prepared. Get the heart rate up. 4 times 4 is 16. That's how many people would actually be in this caged area. This cage actually doesn't come until 1890. Prior to that, it was wooden cells. They have bunk beds. So as you see Mike here, his beds can actually fold up to the wall. And that's how you get 4 people. And the chamber pot. So again, a bad taco night is going to be a very stinky chamber pot area. But you'll find several hash marks from Dave's here. Dave Webb's name is scrawled all throughout the jail about half a dozen times at least. And then of course our inmate Mike, who's in here for not eating his broccoli. So you do have that. Now these steel cells, like I said, came in the 1890s. They replaced the wooden cells. These are the 2 control panels. It's kind of a nice technology. The only difference between these 2 is the actual number of levers. So this one actually has 2 women's side portraits on the side, and then you can see a face right here on this control panel. Now, this has three levers. This one has 2. That's the only difference. And these levers lock each individual door. What they do is they actually slide a solid bar of steel in front of and out of the way of the door. So when you pull the lever, it'll move the actual bar. And that's how you can lock each individual door. So that's how Mike is locked in. His lever is currently compressed and put in. And, well, what it means is if Mike wants to kill me because he didn't eat his broccoli and he's stuck in here, and I need to get Joe in one of the other cells, I can lock Mike into his cell, go in there, safely get Joe, and then head on out. So it's a nice safety feature again. Mm-hmm. Of course, one inmate was kind enough to write something on the wall for Paul to read later on. But yeah, you do have some interesting history on it. The steel walls, or cells, the 2.5 feet thick rock walls, did not stop really. I mean, when we've had over 100 escape attempts happen, and most of them are successful, and I'll talk about a few of them here right now. One of my favorite ones happens around the turn of the century, of the 20th century, in early 1900s. Mr. Smith and another man who were sharing a cell together, Mr. Smith's wife baked a saw inside of cake and gave it to him. And also inside the cake was acid, and they would use that to damage the bars, cut them loose, and escape. So you always hear about Chuck the cake, did he bake a saw on the cake, kind of gag of jails. It worked here.
Didn't work for him.
And then you have another great example. It wasn't all that the ones escaping were smart. They're all dumb for trying to escape. But in this case, the jailers also weren't very good. You see, my favorite escape in our jail history was one inmate coming up to the jailer and saying, I'm going to miss my court date. I have a trial going on. Very soon I need to go to the courthouse. And the jailer looked at him and said, shh, crap. Okay, go. And opens the door and lets him out. That was it. He didn't go. He took off. Another stupid example of both a jailer and the inmate is, I forget the inmate's name. He was a trustee. He was well liked. He had about 8 days left until he was a free man. He could walk out that door, free man. Well, because his time was up almost, and the jailer liked him to a certain degree, he was doing chain gang activities, and it was lunchtime, and the jailer said, hey, why don't you go get lunch, come back, and finish up your work and all that stuff. So he takes off the chain and sends the guy to go get himself lunch at the diner. Because he never returns. Very stupidly, with 8 days left, 8 sleeps, he was out there, free man. He gets captured, and where is he? He goes to the state pen. He ain't going to jail anymore. He goes to state pen. So it's kind of an odd, quirky thing. Of course, they would have plumbing installed. It was outhouses in the back originally. You'll see some plumbing up above the jail cells there. But we're going to do a tour of upstairs. I do need to tell you guys we do have some safety procedures when we go upstairs. This staircase is an afterthought when they were installed. So they're very steep and narrow. They had to work with what they do. So I ask that you do use the handrails when you go up and down. Also, upstairs is kind of a quirky situation. Originally, there was no staircase. There was no way upstairs when this was originally built, from the inside at least. Upstairs was the sheriff's living quarters. If he was married and he even had kids, they lived upstairs. As a matter of fact, one sheriff had 6 kids living upstairs in a very tiny apartment, and his wife lived up there and him. And then the sheriff's office was there. Well, we discovered natural gas in 1893, and that boomed Allen County to become one of the fastest growing communities in the United States. We maxed out at just under 28,000 people for the county during this gas boom. Iola had over 14,000 people in the 1910 census. Ridiculous. We are way lower than that, 5,300 today. Now, that said, a 16-person cell is not going to cut it for 14,000 population of the host city and 28,000 for the entire county. What do you need to do? Well, we kicked the family out from upstairs, turned upstairs into jail cells, also built the staircase, and that's how upstairs went. That said, we did change it back to an apartment life. So in 1966, when this was gifted to the Allen County Historic Society, so long as it's a museum, we decided to turn upstairs back to the apartment because that was the original function. But when you go upstairs and when we do a tour, you're going to see like steel walls in a sitting room. Doesn't make sense. Because it's like, it's a sitting room. Why do you need steel wall? Well, that's because it was a jail cell at one point. So, they have to have some, don't dig through the plaster and all that and escape, which actually happened too. So, but yeah, you do have that. So we're going to go to tour upstairs. It is a little warmer upstairs, so I'll quickly do a talk through there and get us back downstairs. But we'll show you upstairs. So this is our sitting room. Again, the steel walls doesn't make sense for a sitting room, or you could rock your baby in this.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a receiving room, does it?
That's because this was a cell. Now, originally we would not take women into the jail cell because we thought women could not spend time in jail, and they were given hard labor, which usually consisted of sewing, doing laundry, or cleaning windows at the courthouse. To pay off their debt to society. Later on, we were like, oh, women can actually do it. So we would have this area as a women's cell. They have 2 bunk beds and then a bar area here. So that would be their women's cell if needed be. So they would do that. So moving into our bedroom, I do apologize. We have a leak, so I do have some things on the bed currently to not ruin everything while the leak is getting dealt with. But this is another cell area. This is also an area where a jailbreak happened. We'll talk more about that. Now, the Texas Kid wrote his name in our windowsill upstairs. I don't know if he's trying to do Texas or just Texas Kid. I don't know, but he wrote Texas Kid. But this would be a bedroom area. Like I said, there was one sheriff that had 6 kids living up here. Not a big apartment. I have 2 kids. I would not want to live up here. I wouldn't want to live in a jail anyways, but yeah. So you do have several beds. During school tour season, we talk about the bed warmer. And thankfully, kids today realize that's a dumb idea. And why you don't see it. But we do talk about that. Now, Don Head. Don Head is photographed right here. He escapes in August of 1949 by kicking out this barred door, or this bar of the door, squeezes his little butt through that, and drops down.
Boy,
this
he was
was
little.
the original and only way to get upstairs when this was a jail, or the upstairs was the apartment. There was a landing and a staircase that ran along the side of it. However, it was removed when upstairs became jail cells. They kept the door open on hot months. So like in August, the door was wide open. The bar door was shut. But Don was able to squeeze his butt through that after he kicked it loose and dropped down and made a break for it. So he gets captured. Obviously, jailbreak means you ain't going to jail again. You're going to the state pen. So yeah, it wasn't the smartest thing, but they do have a photo to go with the story in this one. So we do have our kitchen area, which was always designated for the kitchen. If the sheriff was married, the wife lives here for free, yes, to a caveat of you also need to cook and clean for the guys, not just for your family, but upstairs. So we do have some items of the time period. The nutcracker dog, you stick the nut in the dog's mouth, apple peeler, meat grinder, coffee grinder, whatever it is. I do ask the school age kids, you know, what is this? And they always say a cheese grater, which I see it. It's a popcorn maker, but I see the cheese grater. Of course, everyone loves cast iron. So the kids, when I asked about the butter churn, they're like, it's a mop. And I was like, no, it's the best food in the world, butter. You couldn't just go to the store like we do today. Go to Walmart and buy a stick of butter. You have to do butter churn. So
my grandparents used that. We
actually do it still to this day. We do shake butter for school tours. And we bake biscuits, and the kids make their own butter and get to enjoy that. But it's kind of, you know, interesting. One of the best food in the world, butter, is wasn't something you just go buy at a store. We do have our plumbing room here, so this is where they would have a shower, restrooms, all that stuff would happen.
This is where they bathe.
But we have a laundry area, sewing, ironing. Kids call this the cordless iron. They're right, I guess, but I mean, it's not like battery powered like we call cordless things today, like a cordless drill.
I mean, they're not wrong.
Yes, they're not wrong. You do have
that's a cordless washing machine.
Yes, yeah. We do have the internal version, which actually has the belt system hooked up, so you can actually hook it to an engine.
So was this for both the inmates and or just for the family?
No, this would just be another room. We have it set up just to showcase the various types of washers and all that stuff. So Procter & Gamble is actually still in Kansas City to this day. This was the sheriff's office, always was the sheriff's office. They did do some work in the late 50s with the gross linoleum style flooring here, but the only original thing upstairs to this jail is the sheriff's desk. They actually moved this out. There were about 5 inmates located in the jail when they moved to the current one. And because of that, they used them as movers, and this went with them. When they replaced it, they donated it to the Historic Society, and that is the original sheriff's desk. Of course, you have a whiskey still captured in the 1930s. And then you have some quirky history, such as the last deer shot in Allen County. Believe it or not, even about 50, 60 years ago, getting a deer license wasn't an easy feat in Kansas like it is
today. Can't shoot deer no more?
They were pretty rare.
You guys can't shoot deer no more?
Oh, we can. Things changed, but actually in 1893 till 1895, no one saw a deer in Allen County. You can't go a day today without seeing a dead deer or live deer. Kansas rifle season is 2 weeks. Crossbow and archery season is from September to the end of the year. So farmers get to shoot their deer whenever they want going through their fields. So that's the other thing. It's done 180, but about 60, 70 years ago, you had to enter a raffle to see if you get a deer license. And then maybe you got lucky enough to see one, and then you hit it and all that. So things have changed. Conservation has worked wonderfully for the community. A little too much, because the sheriff's office actually hates deer because that's their #1 cause of accidents. So you have our other room here. This would be a flat platform. Another room, not sure where it would be. We have our little kids area. We also have human hair right behind you guys there with the hair wreath of the Wilson family. Early settlers to Allen County. They would, this is a Victorian era style of artwork. It was very common. I've worked with hair art before. This is one of the bigger ones I've worked with, but it is the Wilson family hair art. So please use the handrail again.
Soon.
Well, if you look beyond our tin building, you're actually going to find that brick building. during several years of this jail being active, that brick building was actually a bread factory, which means everyone in this jail had to smell the best smell in the world, fresh baked bread.
Right.
And get none of it. The 3 saloons were located. Terrible business setup. You have 3 saloons right next to each other. That's your competition. I think this is ridiculous. But anyways, Kansas was a dry state ever since 1880. But for the most part, local politicians, police force, they either like to drink or, well, they'll be bought off or just turn a blind eye to it. So a year prior, in 1904, Melvin gets sick, and his so-called friends told him, hey, drink this amount of liquor, beer, hard liquor, things like that, and make it feel better. He does, didn't it? And he blamed the alcohol for it. So he had his first attempt to stop the sale of alcohol because a pillar of fire appeared before him and told him, stop the sale of alcohol. So he goes and gets guns. He runs to the local newspaper, still around to this day, shows his guns and say, I'm going to shoot up saloons. We're selling alcohol and we're not supposed to. Blah, blah, blah. And he goes back to his house. Waiting for him at his house are officers who arrest him and send him to Osawatomie, Kansas, where the mental institution is one of the state hospitals. And about 6 months later, he is deemed sane again, and he gets back to Iola and gets his job back with the Smith plant south of town and has access to dynamite and steals 1,000 pounds of dynamite. Steals 1,000 because, well, he's going to blow up saloons. That's his second plan. He has 4 bundles of dynamite, about 500 pounds used, and he will bundle them up and place them behind 4 different saloons in the area. 1 in Bassett, where the Smith plant is, and 3 on the square, west, north, and east side of the square. At 12:26, the first bundle goes off, and it's right behind the 3 saloons on West Street. And we know it's 12:26 because in 1904, we finished a beautiful 1904 courthouse, 131-foot tall clock tower with 4-sided clock, and the concussion less than 200 feet away from where the explosion happened stopped the clock at 12:26 in the morning. So it happened then. But the bomb goes off. There was one individual, one of the owners of the saloons, was still in the building when the bomb went off. Survived. Somehow he survived. As you can see, there is severe damage to the actual saloons. That said, Melvin turned and watched the explosion happen on the northwest corner of the square, got terrified and said he did not like any of the other bundles of dynamite. However, the authorities said they actually found the bundle that was lit. It just never went off. Whether that's true by Melvin or whatever, I'm not sure. But Melvin gets scared. He then runs up to the Mopac line, which is just a block north of us here, and he will start heading west to Missouri, where he just walks all the way to Bronson, Kansas, right on the border of Allen and Bourbon County. That's where he boards a Mopac line, heads over there, heads north to Kansas City, and then eventually is in Keystone, Iowa, where he's captured. He spends 52 days in one of these cells when he's doing his trial here in town. He refuses to be sent to a mental institution. He was sent to Lansing. He would then later be sent to the mental ward in Lansing, and then he would serve about 13 years of his prison sentence before release to his family. Mentally, he was not there. Physically, he was not there anymore and was released early. About a year later, he dies and he'd be buried soon after in Nebraska, where he's originally from. So Melvin's probably the big guy. Now, during this explosion, General Funston's dad, a retired congressman and all that, comes to town because he heard it 5 miles away in Carlisle. So he comes to town. He starts tuning out the police force and the local politicians. Say, if you had done what the law said, it would not have happened. Well, they got embarrassed on being chewed out, and they arrest him for disturbing the peace. They pat him down. They find a revolver in his pocket, and they slap concealed carry charges also on him. And he would actually have to go to court and fight it. He fought it for 4 days. The crowd was so large, they moved it from the courthouse to a large theater so that the public can attend. The city looks horrible in this whole time. They do find him guilty. He appeals, and the charges will be dropped later on. But he was told that he needed to pay $33 of that time period, which is tons of money. But that is kind of an odd thing to have.
Right, it is.
So Charles Melvin would set foot in here for just over 50 days. Now, I told you guys of a few of the break-outs. There's plenty more to go. We have a list of the funnier ones to talk about for school-age tours. But in Allen County jail history, there's only one break-in, and it's to this jail. And do you guys have ideas how you break into jail? Anything?
No, I never
We
thought
go
about
through the
it.
front door.
It happened in 1870. In 1870, we had our only break-in. Less than a year of this being open. On June 27th, there was a knock at the door. And that's how you break into jail. You see, the knock at the door was late at night. The jailer opened the door, probably had a lantern in hand, and holds it out and says, "Who is it?" And there's three individuals standing there. Two of them state they were sheriff deputies from the county southwest, and they had an inmate. They're heading to Ottawa to a much larger jail, and they need a place to stay. Well, it was common courtesy and practice for them to give them a space to stay, and they had an empty cell. So he opened the door, told them to take the empty cell. 3 people, 2 sheriff deputies, and an inmate. 7 more people come in. They're in for one person, Mr. Dawson. You see, prior to June 27th, 1870, Mr. Dawson kills his adoptive son. By accident, he claims, and maybe, I doubt it, but maybe it was. Mr. Dawson kills his adoptive son over essentially his pocket knife. You see, he always thought the child was lazy and a liar, and when his pocket knife went missing, he assumed the child did. He throws the child on the ground, steps on the child's throat, and demands to know where the pocket knife is. The child, of course, is suffocating. He's being choked out. And eventually, he stops moving. Not knowing what to do, Mr. Dawson then takes the lifeless body of the boy to an abandoned well on his property, which is in southern Allen County, dumps the body down there, covers it up in hopes that's the end of it. However, his neighbors started to ask questions. Where's the boy? We haven't seen him, lie after lie, and then he finally confesses, and he's placed in this jail June 27th. And that, later on in the night, is when we have the knock. Those 10 men will come in, put a noose around Mr. Dawson's neck, and then hang him in the abandoned town of Coffee, our first town and county seat of Allen County, very short-lived. In 1870, it was literally a ghost town. But they find him in a barn, hang him in the rafters.
So they only came in here and got him.
They came in and took him out. So that was the only break-in. Now, there are some weird things about this story, too. First off, the jailer that was stationed here said he put up a fight. He fought to keep Mr. Dawson protected. And the jail also had several other individuals in it at the same time in jail. But he fought to make sure Mr. Dawson was out. Now, one-on-one, unless you're the best fighter in the world, you're going to have some marks on you if you actually try. 10-on-1, you're losing, obviously. You're going to swing at one of them, you're probably getting 10 people swinging at you. So there definitely should be marks on you. No marks on the jailer who said he put up a fight. Also, guess who discovers Mr. Dawson's lifeless body? None other than the jailer. You see, after reporting and being done with all the investigation on it, he feels compelled to go on a walk, and no one lives in Coffee. He just walks to Coffee, sees the barn, feels compelled to go in there, opens the door, and hanging in the rafters is Mr. Dawson.
He just happens to go into the barn.
He happens, of all the chances, to go to the barn. That was Mr. Dawson. So that's kind of a weird coincidence. Now, 2 people would be arrested and charged and put on trial. They were acquitted. Nothing came of it, so no one died. Don't get me wrong. Dawson deserved to die. What he did was extremely wrong. It's just not the just way of doing it. It should not have been mob ran. It should have been in front of the judge and his peers. So, what he did was wrong. How it happened, I mean, the end result was fine, but shouldn't have happened there. So that's the only break-in into Allen County Jail.
That's crazy.
So, I believe 1994 is our last jailbreak at the current jail. So over 20 years, or 30 years now. Oh wow, I feel now. Trying to say 20. So yeah, any questions about the jail?
No.
Awesome.
I enjoyed it.